Welcome, and thanks for your interest in learning more about how you can support Siskiyou Land Trust in its highly impactful permanent land conservation work. If you're interested in making sure your environmental conservation donations have as much impact as possible, look no further than the Siskiyou Land Trust. As we'll discuss more in a minute, the benefits of our conservation work extend far beyond the borders of Siskiyou County. Additionally, we're intentionally focused on and design our projects to have the biggest impact and deliver the highest value of every dollar spent. Also, the affordability and value of Siskiyou Land Trust's conservation projects give you big bang for the buck. The impact of conservation in Siskiyou County goes far beyond the county lines. Siskiyou County is the home of the headwaters of the Sacramento River, which is the biggest source of water in California. The Sacramento provides much of the water for agricultural use in the San Joaquin Valley and residential use in the LA Basin. Conserving and protecting the headwaters of this important river, as well as all of the watersheds that feed it, is of critical importance to the entire state. Our conservation work also has far-reaching impact on the health of wildlife across the western U.S. Siskiyou County is at the center of important habitat restoration of endangered and threatened species. It's no coincidence that the endangered wolf population is making a comeback here, and that Siskiyou County rivers offer the best chance for return of the endangered coho and Chinook salmon. In fact, our own Scott River has the most stable population of coho in the state. It goes without saying that air quality impacts reach far beyond county lines. The carbon sequestration provided by our permanently protected forests and rangelands benefit the world as a whole, as does our work to create fire-resilient landscapes. As we've all learned over the past several years, wildfires in any portion of the Pacific Northwest affect the air quality from the Canadian border to Mexico. Our focus on connectivity directly supports the health of migratory species. As part of this strategy, we don't necessarily look to conserve the largest number of acres. We often preserve smaller parcels which are connected to large parcels of already preserved lands, which add critical habitat to create vast wildlife migration corridors. Siskiyou Land Trust's far-reaching vision for creating large landscapes with sweeping habitat protection, high carbon sequestration value, preservation of open spaces, and view sheds is included in every project we undertake. This approach also encompasses our focus on preserving headwaters of streams and rivers, which provide critical spawning and rearing habitat for salmon. Although discussed in our previous presentation in which we introduced you to the Siskiyou Land Trust work, the point bears repeating here. Our conservation work offers incredible affordability and value. Using rough estimates, the cost to conserve an acre of land in the Bay Area is approximately $3,500. In Siskiyou County, that average cost is approximately $350 per acre. That means that for every 100,000 acres protected in the Bay Area, 1 million acres could be conserved in Siskiyou County. Another way to look at it is that $1 spent on conservation here goes 8 to 10 times further. The number of conservation opportunities in Siskiyou County and the trajectory of the Siskiyou Land Trust growth are disproportionate to the amount of funding available within the county. Although we are in the top 5 counties in terms of size, and arguably among the top 3 in terms of conservation values, we are near the bottom in terms of median income. Given the benefits to all of the areas outside of our geographic region and the comparative affordability of conserving land in Siskiyou County, donations to the Siskiyou Land Trust create an outsized impact. After all, clean air, fresh water, and healthy wildlife know no geographic boundaries. Siskiyou Land Trust has a solid and expanding base of local financial support. We've been fortunate over the past several years to have seen an increase in the donations we received on Giving Tuesday, as well as in the number of supporters and the size of the individual donations. We have also seen a significant increase in the number and size of project and capacity building grants that we have received in the past several years. These grants fund our transactions and a portion of our general operating costs and are a testament to the fact that we have been vetted by the granting agencies and that they have determined that our work is of value. Siskiyou Land Trust also has cash and real property assets, which include $14,500,000 in conservation easements, $1,243,000 in fee title ownerships, $627,000 in stewardship reserves, and $308,000 in general cash reserves. And finally, although you can't place a monetary value on it, Siskiyou Land Trust board and staff have professional skills that assure that our resources will be well managed. Most of the funds for our conservation transaction purchase price and a portion of the staffing cost to do the deals come from agency grants. But even for expenses that are covered by grants, there can be a significant delay between when an expense is incurred and when we are reimbursed by the agency under the grant agreement. This creates real cash flow challenges which can limit our ability to take advantage of time-sensitive opportunities as they arise. Another challenge is the gap between the grant funding and the total cost of the transaction. When you add in the cost of pre-grant due diligence expenses, general office operations, and expenses related to transactions which don't ultimately make the cut, Siskiyou Land Trust is left with approximately $150,000 in fundraising to do annually. This is the place where we rely on our community members for their support year in and year out. Every donation, whether $5 or $5,000, provided by our supporters is critical to our ability to do our work at the current level. Long term, we have bigger fundraising goals. Our sights are set on expanding our impact and taking advantage of as many of the opportunities before us as possible. To do that, and to have the financial stability to enable us to steward the lands that we protect in perpetuity, we're seeking to raise 3 pools of funds. The first is an operating fund of $500,000. This constitutes 6 months of operating expenses at our current rate. As we expand and expenses increase, our goal is to have a minimum of 5 months of reserves. This will allow us to take advantage of opportunities as they emerge without being strapped by cash flow. It can also provide financing for transactions prior to receipt of grant reimbursements. The next pool of funds that we're looking to raise is a stewardship fund of $3 million. This fund would provide a stream of income for easement monitoring costs and fee title maintenance and operating expenses in perpetuity. Our final goal is to grow our endowment to at least $8 million. This would generate a stream of interest income which would bridge the gap between grants and operating expenses and ensure our ability to operate in perpetuity. It would also be available for project bridge loans to avoid losing rare conservation opportunities. By contributing to the Siskiyou Land Trust at this point in our development, you are essentially funding our capacity to embrace the opportunities before us, which will not be here indefinitely. Your contributions to our operating fund, our stewardship fund, or our endowment will provide the staffing, financial resources, and flexibility we need to have the most impact possible. We're really asking you to fund an ethic and a vision, to fund an opportunity to make a major shift in the quality of life for all of us, no matter where we reside, for the wildlife and plants with whom we share this planet, and to, in essence, change the future. Your contributions will give us the capacity to step up and meet the vast opportunities before us in this narrow window of time during which they are available. Thank you for your time and your interest in supporting Siskiyou Land Trust. We appreciate you and all that you do to preserve our precious natural places.